to ensure that we pay. Mr. Speaker, what I will say here is that as much as we have done all this, let us agree that in the agricultural sector, food security, I see we have money for the sugar sector reforms, of which nearly 6 billion arises from the new sugar levy, which is a plus, yes. But can we also finish all these sugar challenges, the farmers, the workers? Let us not just read monies on this paper, and then we go back. Farmers are still screaming, the staffs are still screaming. It will not be fair. Then there's no matter of looking at all these budgets we are talking about and the billions we are talking about. My only worry now, Mr. Speaker, is in the energy sector. It's also a sector we need to ask Kenya Power some very serious questions. Because, Mr. Speaker, yesterday we had a petition from the tea small farmers, those who are now pushing to have their own hydro. You realize KPLC has used the power of small farmers, 70 million. They have refused to pay them. If they would wish to have even just a leeway to pass through the cables of Kenya Power denies them. And then I'm asking myself, is it one country? Is this power supposed to try and ensure we have efficiency and also farmers to get good dividends in these T zones, yet we cannot agree with Kenya Power, which is also a government institution? That is something we need to ask ourselves. And we need to realign all these laws so that these fights over cables, I don't know what, the poles, all this is to serve Mwananchi. Unless Kenya Power wants to tell us they are not serving Mwananchi, they are serving some senior people somewhere, that one they need to tell us. But if you are just serving Mwananchi, then we must not be fighting about why the small T zones cannot put up their power stations and also just use the same leeway as Kenya Power. We have to ask that question. It is this House that need to resolve all these conflicts we have, Mr. Speaker. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, in the social protection, I see we have 15 million for the state of gender and affirmative action. That one is okay to go for the 70th session of Commission on Status of Women. But now, Mr. Speaker, we have a program that the government has started on children and homes. And I know the government would wish to see our children homes, the children now getting foster parents or even going back to their families, but being supported there. But what I want to tell the government also, let us not get into any curse on how we handle these children. By the time this child was finding he or she in a children's home, it means there was a crisis. So let us manage that process in a very, very friendly way. But then, let us also remember, those who will not find their parents, let them remain in the homes they have been. Or the homes that are doing well, you can bring in more children. And those that you feel are not doing right, you can then close them. But let's not just close them for the sake of closing. As I finalize, Mr. Speaker, the roads that we see right now, I want to tell Kura, and especially in Nairobi, Kura has been doing a lot of maintenance in many of the roads. The most sad part of all this maintenance, and if this is how we are going to spend money every time, it will be wrong. That you do repair, you give contractors, yes, I won't blame Kura, let me blame their contractors. They do the road 6 months, when the rain comes, the whole road is gone, Mr. Speaker. You spend millions and billions on it. Why can't we do roads mixing with cement then the way they are done in Europe, on where we have the roads that need to be strong, like the road Baba did, Bagathi, we have never done any repairment. So why can't we just use that, the better expensive, but then stay for many years without repairing and potholes? With that, I support, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Elachi, I hope you will be hosting children from children's homes as usually do during Easter. I hope you have the means to continue that legacy. The Honorable Gabriel Tongoyo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to support a very balanced and responsive and people-centered budget as presented by my very good friend and able chair. But Honorable Speaker, kindly allow me, before I support, I wanted the attention of the Speaker. Honorable Speaker, before I support, I just want to challenge the aspersion being made by the Honorable Oundo, the Member of Parliament for Funyula, in regards to the 223 expenditure under the State House, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to refer the House to what is 223, what actually the provision of 223. And I want to read, Honorable Speaker, in our Constitution, and it states, the amount appropriated for any purpose under the Appropriation Act is in the condition, the circumstances under which 2223 is provided for. Subject to the clause 2 and 4, the national government may spend money that has not been appropriated for this House, by this House rather, under these conditions or circumstances. A, if the amount appropriated for any purpose under the Appropriation Act is insufficient or a need as a reason for expenditure for a purpose which no amount has been appropriated by that act. What does this Honorable Speaker says? Honorable Speaker, it is clearly states that 223 can be appropriated in case of emergency and foreseen, but also if the amount that was appropriated by this House was never sufficient in the first place. And the MP for Funyula had talked about the 4 billion, which was spent by State House under 223. And I want to say that it was within the law. Honorable Speaker, as the chair that oversights the State House budget, and I'm proud you also sit in that committee, the State House, when they presented their estimate in this financial year, the requirement was 18 billion. And what was available was slightly, I think, 8-point-something billion. Actually, 50% of what was provided for. So for having an addition under 223 was within the law. So I just want to challenge that, Honorable Speaker. There is nothing wrong. It is within the provision of our Constitution. And having said this, Honorable Speaker.
Chair Administration and Internal Affairs, we all understand that we have a different president this time.
Yes.
There are lots of infrastructure developments. We have a president who is traveling across the country. Like when he was in Homa Bay, there is a new state lodge in Homa Bay. He's hosting people. Our state lodges, not just the State House in Nairobi, is very busy. I'm aware even today, maendeleo ya wanawake from across the country, including Homa Bay. And so, unlike before, Chair, you should not take a lot of time defending the current State House. In fact, it should be funded more.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
So continue.
And as a stout lawyer and a very senior member of this House, I don't want to say any further. And Honorable Speaker, for record, Honorable Bui Rosa is also a member of this committee. And she remembers very well that even the State House controller pleaded to the committee then, when they are doing their presentation, for additional resources, because what was appropriated and provided for was never enough. So this is Honorable Speaker. Now I go to my contribution, Honorable Speaker. From the very start, I want to really commend the good job done by the Committee on Budget and Appropriation, led by my very good friend Atandi, whom the Speaker is on record, having been said that he's actually the best speaker, the best chair of budget, and I can confirm so. He's very consultative, and actually, even in wherever there's some changes, he reaches out to the chairs, and I think that's supposed to be the spirit. Had me 1 minute, please.
No. You are just beginning.
Yes.
How many minutes
The
has
Speaker
chair?
said you give me.
Huh?
I was trying to respond
15.
the other one. Thank you, Speaker.
Yeah, so you have over 10 minutes to go. Yes.
One is enough for me. 2 minutes are enough for me. Honorable Speaker, I want to really commend and I want to say that this budget is so balanced, is responsible, and being people-centered. And I want to commend the additional done in the Ministry of, in the Vote of Administration and Internal Security, and more importantly on the modernization program. We all know that our police officers are really doing a good job, that managed to curb the insecurity and the issue of cattle rustling in Kerio Valley, in North Rift, but more still needed to be done along the Isiolo, the Meru, and they wanted the tool of service to be able to achieve their mandate. And we have in Lamu, Boni Forest, and I want to confirm to this House, we have very competent officers, if only they are well-resourced and given the equipment. Honorable Speaker, in the same, there is additional about 2 billion in support of the victim of post-election violence. This is living to the spirit where, of course, the Kenya Kwanza government want to show that they care for the people who carry the brunt of post-election violence as they address the issue of injustices in this country. It's very commendable, Honorable Speaker. Not to mention money that has been allocated to address the issue of disaster and the emergency and such as flooding. On the issue of education, Honorable Speaker, there's a lot of enhancement in the issue of universities loan and even the money to our lecturers to address the issue of the CBA. And Honorable Speaker, you remember when the President was having investors conference, one thing that stood out was from the investors and the speakers is that how Kenya is blessed with a human capital. So this is to continuously strengthen our human capital through financing of Ministry of Education. So I commend that Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, on the issue of agriculture, there's a lot of increments to address, to continuously making Kenya food to food security, addressing food security in the country, which is well commendable. And as a pastoralist, there is some money allocated to address the issue of restocking program, to address the issue of drought mitigation. As we know, majority of farmers and pastoralists lost their livestock in the just ended drought. Honorable Speaker, the issue of water and road, I've seen enhanced increments, and I'm sure this is going to be very important in making sure that Kenya remain focused on our way to Singapore. Honorable Speaker, with all this, I want to support, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Chair. I hope you have adequately provided for the police, particularly GSU. And I hope also you addressed the issue of that hospital. I'm now of a changed view after the presentations. They need money so that it can be operationalized. Yeah, thank you. Who is the next chair of a committee? The Honorable Meli can now speak. I want to take a lot of time on chairs.
Thank you, thank you.
And as you proceed, Honorable Meli, let me just remind the House that for chairpersons, you have up to 15 minutes. For chairpersons, because you are speaking for departments. And the whole ministry is under your charge. So proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to first and foremost say that as chairs of committees, I want to say we really compliment one another with the chair of Budget and Appropriation Committee. And more importantly, there are a number of issues that I want to laud the Chair and Appropriations Committee for the good work that he has done. One of the things, Honorable Chair, that the Budget and Appropriation Committee has shown in this supplementary budget is sticking to policy, and more importantly, on programs that need to be completed from the previous budgets. Honorable Speaker, in general terms, that what we need to know as the appropriating house of the Republic is to ensure that most of the programs, the big programs like Dongokundu, the big roads that are going on, the Mau roads, are actually being factored in this budget. These are the programs that were inherited from the previous administrations. A number of programs that this administration inherited is supposed to clear them. And I want to laud the chair of Budget and Appropriation Committee for his consultancies, for consulting, and more importantly, making sure that we finish them. In the State Department for University and TVETs, most of the TVETs institutions have been allocated resources to complete them. More importantly, those ones which had 60, 70%, and 90% completion. A number of them which had pending bills have also been allocated resources. And this is a good indicator that if our budgets, appropriation budgets in the coming years are going to go that particular direction, we'll not see any of what we call white elephants or stalled projects. Two, Honorable Speaker, we have very pertinent programs that have actually been taken care of, especially student financing. Higher Education Loans Board have gotten 15 billion shillings on student loans. TVETs have also gotten financing, and they have in effect make sure that students are going to be in classes for the next durations, Honorable Speaker. In fact, through loans, scholarships, and capitation, our universities now will not be having a lot of issues. In fact, we'll want to see all students in the halls of lecture halls, and they'll now be out there carrying out their practicums. Honorable Speaker, the issue that we have also covered is the issue of CBA. We have CBAs for lecturers, which was actually pending, almost the last phase. That's been provided for. We also have the issue of teachers' medical cover, which was owed. Honorable Undo did ask, how then are we paying Minute? We are paying Minute because it's a pending bill, which they have been providing services to teachers who have even who went for treatment, and the insurer has not been paid that amount of money. So it is very important that this House notes that the Aeon Minute that was which contract ended had a big pending bill, and they had to be paid, and they had to actually be paid for services that they had been rendered. Money has also been paid to SHA, others for teachers, and this is an assurance that what we planned for as Kenya Kwanza government is actually, we are actually doing it to the latter. In fact, a number of programs that was set aside, for example, examination fees has been paid to the examination council. That means this year's exam is going on well. All the programs that have been channeled, especially on CBE, the competency-based education, all this has been provided, Honorable Speaker. In fact, capitation to schools and grants from donors, which is amounting to almost 100 billion, had no quality assurance and standards money for monitoring. In fact, you'll realize that government has every other time been giving out resources to institutions, and no one was going to find out what was going on. And I want to thank the Budget and Appropriation Committee for appropriating 600 million for that, and 200 million for capacity building and engaging stakeholders, so that the understanding of CBE across all sectors of this country is actually, the capacity building and dialogues are going to go across in all counties. Honorable Speaker, this particular budget has spoken mainly, even on to salary increases, salary for the police officers. The farmers have gotten a big share, especially on subsidized fertilizer. And this one has been seen by the cost of food. And when the cost of food has gone down, in effect, it spurs growth. Honorable Speaker, nations that import food, nations that rely on foreign importation of food will lose their foreign incomes. And in fact, you'll realize that subsidized fertilizer is encouraging. We'll see all our farmers, the production of maize will be very high, tea production, sugarcane production, and in fact, the 6 billion given to sugarcane reforms. I come from sugarcane growing areas, Honorable Speaker. And as I speak, our farmers are very happy. And I want to thank Honorable Atandi and the committee that now every 2 weeks, sugarcane farmers are being paid. The reforms are paying out. Homes are getting money every other 2 weeks, and therefore, payment of fees, payment of all what the farmers want, and even carrying out their farming duties, activities. It is because of a well-thought, carried out sugar reform programs. The tea programs I'm seeing is also is actually on the way. And I want to ask that when that particular program comes on, I've seen there is some allocation, but when the programs comes on, Honorable Speaker, and I want to tell the House, we need to support them because the tea sector, like coffee and sugar, is the backbone of this country. It is where over 20 million families or people rely on. If we are going to make sure that we give the farmer money like the way we are doing in sugar, like in tea and in coffee, then surely we have pesa mfukoni the way we said. We are going to ensure that all our farmers and everyone else is going to have that. On infrastructure, Honorable Speaker, the supplementary budget has spoken to a lot of projects. And I want to laud the Budget and Appropriation Committee for the good work done. I've seen the projects that are supposed to be completed, the many highways that we are building, the infrastructure that we have in housing, the energy sector. You know very well that we have a lot of outages, power outages, especially in the evening, which is actually causing a problem to our industrial growth, and more importantly, to even the manufacturing sector. If we don't invest in energy, we are not going to attain where we are going to be the first world country. So this huge investment in energy sector is very paramount and very important for most of the small-scale industries, the large-scale industries, and more importantly, even the ICT sector rely heavily on energy. And by so doing, Honorable Speaker, the Chair Budget and Appropriation Committee has put the right money, has put money enough to make sure that this country moves forward and make sure that we have the right infrastructure in place. So, Honorable Speaker, I want to say that this budget and appropriation and this supplementary budget was well done. It was well done because of consultation. It was well done because of teamwork. It was well done because of the input of the departmental committees. And it was well done because all the members involved spoke in unison on the direction that we are taking. And with that, I thank you and I support.
The Honorable Rosa Buyu on a special request.
Mr. Speaker, I came before the member who's complaining, but I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the thing that stands out most for me is the 2 billion that's been allocated for compensation for victims. Mr. Speaker, my late party leader, Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, fought for that, and that was one of the last things that he was clinging to, because he knew that many Kenyans had lost their lives, and many Kenyans had suffered, and those Kenyans needed to be compensated. So, Mr. Speaker, I'm happy that 2 billion has been set aside for that compensation. Mr. Speaker, however, as a staunch member of the broad-based government, I don't feel too happy this evening. Mr. Speaker, it is true that the Budget Committee has the overall and the final mandate to present the budget to the House. But, Mr. Speaker, we can't understate the role of the committees, the various departmental committees, in informing the Budget Committee. Mr. Speaker, the departmental committees are the ones who interrogate and engage with the sagas and the different state departments to know whether the budget that's in question, the main budget that's in question, is performing well, or underperforming? And if so, why? And what, therefore, can be done? And that is then why we have the supplementary opportunity for supplementary estimate, Mr. Speaker. But when you look at this, and I want to support the Honorable Speaker who spoke first, Honorable Zengu, I sit in the Committee of Blue Economy like him. Mr. Speaker, blue economy deals with water, commodity of water, which in many parts of this country is scarce, and which is something, a commodity that all human beings need, Mr. Speaker. And we know that water is still scarce in the major part of this country. Mr. Speaker, so what the committee does is interrogates, Mr. Speaker, I request, Mr. Speaker, could you kindly protect me from my neighbor? He's consulting a little loudly, and I'm not able to concentrate, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Ignore his consultations and address the nation.
So, Mr. Speaker, what the Committee of Blue Economy does is look at how well the main budget has performed. And in cases where there is great need for water, the committee then looks at the available budget in different items and whether it is consumed or whether it is well utilized or whether it's surplus, and the committee therefore directs it to other areas that there is need. But Mr. Speaker, what we see here is that by and large, the recommendation of the committee has been ignored. Mr. Speaker, I'm particularly annoyed and unhappy with one project. If you look at Northern Waterworks, Mr. Speaker, the approved estimates for 2025-2026 was 213 million. Additional allocation of 400 million has been given to it in this supplementary estimate number 1, giving it a total budget of 613 million, just 2 months before we begin talking about the main budget. Mr. Speaker, when we interrogated the PS for water, he categorically told us that this project was complete. And so our question was, what was the 613 million for if it was a complete project? Why must we give it another 400 to add to the 200 that it already had, so that it's 613 for a project that was already complete? So what the committee did was left it with 200 million, but reallocated the rest of the money to other needy areas where projects had been started but had not been completed. Mr. Speaker, as I speak to you, the Northern Water has a pending bill of 1.5 billion. And we've heard what the chair of budgets has said, that pending bill is an issue, and as much as possible, supplementary budget should address the issue of pending bills. Mr. Speaker, why can that money be put into payment of pending bills to reduce it, instead of leaving it for a project that was already completed? Mr. Speaker, it is true when the previous speakers have actually pointed out that what supplementary estimate is supposed to do is to actually close gaps and to see where there's need and put in money if that need might have been ignored. But what we are seeing in practice is totally different. Mr. Speaker, I'd also like to address myself to 2 to 3. I also sit in the Committee of Security, and I'm going to say exactly what I said during the proceedings of the committee. Mr. Speaker, 2 to 3 is being misused. 2 to 3 is supposed to be an use on emergency, an unforeseen emergency that has occurred that has to be dealt with. But we find that across departments, 2 to 3 is being misused. And what that means is when you come up with the budget, whether you give that department money or not, they will use 2 to 3 to get the money they asked for, but did not get in a budget. And then the department still come back to look for money in the supplementary. So what are we budgeting for, Mr. Speaker? What is the role of budgeting? Mr. Speaker, 2 to 3 is being misused. And you cannot tell me that you will use 2 to 3 so that you make visits or you have functions. That is not emergency, especially at a time when the country is grappling with difficult economic times. Mr. Speaker, Kenyans must see prudent use of their money. Because when you tell me you draw from 2 to 3 for items that can wait, in fact, in some instances, 2 to 3 is drawn 3 weeks before supplementary. Why doesn't it wait so that the money is asked for during supplementary? The only reason that I know is that because 2 to 3, you don't have to ask anybody for permission. You should only come for approval after the fact, after we've used the money. Mr. Speaker, my humble advice to Parliament is that we must be serious on 2 to 3. And we must make sure that nobody takes advantage of that 2 to 3, because otherwise it renders our work useless. And it makes budgeting useless. Mr. Speaker, as much as I sound harsh, I want to congratulate the chairperson of budgeting for his accessibility. Because when you call him, or you look for him, or you ask him, or you make queries, he's open to listening to your queries and to listening to you. The only problem, Mr. Speaker, is that it might not find, what you ask for might not find its space here, because 2 to 3 has swallowed it all. Or it might not find its space here, because new projects that are not so relevant to the people is included in this budget. Mr. Speaker, I will talk about those new projects because when you look at irrigation and you look at water, there is 8 billion that's been put for new projects, when old projects or projects that are already in operation are not being completed. But we are allocating another 8 billion for new projects. Mr. Speaker, so where does Kenyans get their money's worth? Isn't it better to complete projects that have already been started before you take 8 billion to embark on new projects? What guarantee is there that those new projects will be completed? When we are on a policy of not starting but not completing and then starting other new projects. Mr. Speaker, as I close, I'd like to request for prudence. At a time when there's no money, whatever little money there is must give Kenyans their worth. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Makali Mulu, because of rank. Yeah, before I come back to the chairs. And the chairs, I'm giving you priority because we want you to speak about your department. So don't stand, Honorable Kangogo Bowen, and start telling us about infrastructure and roads. Tell us about water. Yes, Honorable Makali Mulu, proceed.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I have listened to Honorable Losambuyu, and I wish you were all talking like her. Because I think as a house, at times I sit here and I find it's like we are let down to this country when it comes to budget making. I sit in that committee, Honorable Speaker. I do sit in that committee, so even as I talk.
Kangogo Bowen, why don't we avoid points of order?
Mr. Speaker, is the Honorable Magali Mulu in order to say that he is a frustrated member of this House when he is a member of Budget Committee, Honorable Speaker? I appeared before him and the Honorable attended when he has not presented a dissenting report to this, or minority report to this budget. Mr. Speaker, it is true, I know the Honorable Magali is true, he's really frustrated, but have you presented a minority or a dissenting report to this supplementary budget? When you are a member, you are approved.
Honorable Magali, proceed.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we joined this house together with Honorable Kangongo, and he knows we have been here long enough, Honorable Speaker. And those many years, actually, if you look at all the reports you have discussed, budget reports since 2013, Honorable Kagogo, you agree with me that 223 has been a serious issue, including when Honorable Mbandi was here, the current CS Treasury. And our hope has been when he gets to the other side, now that he is there, we will see some minimization of the use of 223, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, at one point, I think you are part of that discussion, where we are saying as a house, we might need to do some regulations on how to use 223, so that we start adding value. And unfortunately, it has never happened. So, Honorable Kagogo, there's a difference between saying, talking, and acting. We have been very good at talking, acting. We have a question about it. Let me put this budget to context, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we are discussing a supplementary budget where we have added the figures. The increment in terms of supplementary budget, Honorable Speaker, is members 363 billion. That's what we have added in this supplementary budget one. Now, out of this 363, when you look at what we have done to our revenue, we have projected increase of revenue by 29 billion. As at end of December, as at end of February, we were short of revenue by 150 billion. So it means by June, we expect to collect the total expected amount, and in addition, collect additional 29 billion. As at now, we are negative by 150 billion. The question is, how realistic are these figures? We have our own expectations, which are good, and it's good to be hopeful. But what we are saying, honorable members, we are increasing expenditure. We are not at the same rate increasing revenue. What has happened to the budget deficit? Because I see people talk about the departmental committees here. They are not talking about the overall budget deficit, Honorable Speaker. And that's where the problem is. By what we have done, Honorable Speaker, we have moved the budget deficit from 4.8% of the GDP to 6.2% of the GDP. To make it worse, Honorable Speaker, this increase, most of it will be budgeted through domestic borrowing. We have got into this debate within the committee with my colleagues. And we are saying, while the CS Finance might be telling us that we are likely, domestic borrowing now is becoming easier because the interest rates are coming down, and most of the banks are very liquid, so that they can now buy our treasury bills and bonds. Honorable members, this week, you saw the control of budget saying, if we are not careful, we are likely to be devoting on paying of our debts, because we are expected to be paying 3.6 trillion in this 1 year. What does that mean? Why 3.6 trillion in 1 year? Basically because we have switched ourselves from borrowing externally to domestic borrowing, and domestic borrowing, always the borrowing period is shorter. So you have to keep on paying. So what is happening? Every time we are paying, we are borrowing to pay loans which are due. Because it's on annual basis, we are rolling over. So, honorable members, anytime we discuss these budgets, let's not just talk about our own departments. Let's also look at the overall budget framework, because you have a framework. For me, I get very concerned when I see this issue of budget deficit moving from 4.8 to 6.4, because we are making our budget deficit a moving target, so that we cannot plan. And by not planning, you know what we are doing. Honorable members, Kenya is at the cliff in matters public debt. We almost devoted, and we're almost in the country of the other 6. We have not done it yet, but I'm telling you, if we continue this trend, don't be surprised that we be in the class of countries who are not getting their public debt right. So even as we demand for more, honorable members, and that's why to me, the most critical bit which we should be doing is prioritization of our expenditure. You know, anytime I hear Honorable Losa question the issue of where are we spending our money, that is the question we are not asking ourselves as departmental chairs. That's not the question we are not asking ourselves as honorable members of parliament. Because we should be able to pick a toothpick and say, this does not make sense to a country which is borrowing money. There are cases, if you are using your own money, you have no problem. But there are cases where when you are using borrowed money, you have to be very careful. And honorable members, I want to plead with you that we start looking at where are we applying our resources. And more so, resources which are being borrowed. You saw at the same time, the control budget saying, we are paying commitment fee for loans we have signed for, and we are not withdrawing, we are not drawing the resources. Why? A country which is borrowing, why would you borrow a loan and you don't use it? On a serious note, if you are borrowing. These are critical issues we cannot run away from. Mr. Chairman, the issue of pending bills. You know, Honorable Chair, we have been having vetting committees of pending bills. And to me, I think these committees are just a big joker. They come, they pay the bills, say, pay this, you don't pay this. This country is actually choking out of pending bills. We are dying, Mr. Chairman. And who is dying out of this? Our small-scale business people. They are the people who have worked for the government. They are the people who have provided goods and services to the government. They have not been paid. Some of them have taken loans. Some of them have been auctioned. Some are dying out of high blood pressure because of being auctioned. These things are happening to the people we represent, gentlemen and ladies, honorable members. We can't just take this lightly. We need to be more serious about these issues. The other issue, Honorable Speaker, you know, we must discuss governance issues, Honorable Speaker. Most of this money we are discussing, I might want to say it or not, and I can say it in this floor of the House, because here I have my own immunities. Honorable Speaker, you say that we use the money, the level of corruption we see in these budgets, Honorable Speaker, to kill this country. And that's why I want to support my colleague, Honorable Osamboyo. When she talks, I listen to a Kenyan who is serious about, Honorable Speaker, you'll be surprised. Me and my chairman were listening to the chair, Health Committee. And he said, as we are discussing here, honorable members, Kenyatta Hospital, the machine which takes care of our cancer patients, the one for radiotherapy, they have all broken down. It's only one working. Our people are queuing there for 3-4 months, are waiting to be treated, and you find we have put 400 million here, Honorable Speaker, to buy additional land for State House, Honorable Speaker. And as we buy that land, Honorable Speaker, a machine costs 450 million. If we are given a choice, if it was your mother who was dying of cancer, and you are being given a choice to choose between buying land and buying a machine to treat your mother, which one would you buy first? These are the issues, Honorable Speaker. We have nothing against the government. We are just saying as Kenyans, can we apply our resources in the right? And if we do that, gentlemen, at times we do our voting here through yes or no. And we know democracy demands that majority have their way, minority will be listened to, and you end your story there. But even as you do the majority and the minority, honorable members, know that Kenyans are watching. We may not be able to get it through, but Kenyans now are more smart to look at this budget and say, there are things we have done better. We need to give money where our people feel it. This committee by Honorable Kagogo, Honorable Chairman, you have had his members are complaining, Engineer Nzengo there is complaining, or Zamboya is complaining about, but we're asking ourselves, Honorable Chair, if it is the same committee who brought projects to us as a committee last year, June, and we approved, and now they are taking the money from the same projects and giving others, there must be an explanation. And I think as a committee, we are not convinced that the explanation was actually convincing to us. So even as we talk about individual committees, let's also not forget the bigger picture in terms of budget making. And I think if we do that, Honorable Speaker, we will actually be able to help this country. Honorable Speaker provided resources for drought management and floods mitigation. Our roads have been cleared by the floods. Now, we have not put any money to repair our roads. So what will happen to our roads? These are the things, these are the hard questions. I submit, Honorable Speaker, and thank you for this opportunity. Thank you so much.
Honorable Kangogo Bowen will be followed by Honorable John Kiarie, who will be followed by Honorable the Chair Departmental Committee on Energy. Spend more than 10 minutes
thank you.
Because I don't have more than 40 minutes before we close the debate.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, from the onset, I want to support the report of this supplementary budget, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, the first, I want to commend my friend, the Chair of Budget, Honorable Atandi. Honorable Atandi, Honorable Speaker, is a consultative chair, And I must say, Honorable Speaker, in some cases where we have interacted with the Honorable Attorney of the committee, the areas we have agreed, the areas which we have disagreed, we always sit together and agree. Mr. Speaker, you directed us to speak specifically to the areas we oversight. Mr. Speaker, I'm the chair oversighting the Ministry of Water, Irrigation and Sanitation, and also the blue economy. And Mr. Speaker, water is a basic issue. It's a basic right, Honorable Speaker, even under Article 43 of our Constitution, which, Honorable Speaker, we need as a House to put resources into the water sector, Honorable Speaker, because many Kenyans, Honorable Speaker, do not have access to water in their houses. Honorable Speaker, in the last parliament, we adopted a system where we took an electricity or a transformer to every primary school or a secondary school in the country. As a committee, Honorable Speaker, we had a proposal before this House before that if there is need also to adopt the same in water, to take water to almost every school, and if you have a water in every school, probably in the neighborhood, you can keep like a last mile within that community. The second issue, Honorable Speaker, we made a proposal as a committee in the last parliament and even in this parliament, that if possible, Honorable Speaker, if we can allow every constituency in Kenya to have only 100 million for water, to sort out water. 100 million, Honorable Speaker, is about around 29, almost 29, between 25 to 29 billion Kenya shillings. Instead of putting one dam, Honorable Speaker, at one corner of the country, you are putting a dam, 40 billion, at one corner of the country. The dam runs for 100 years. Those people, there is a dam we put in Twake, which is about 34 billion. It started almost 12 years ago. Up to now, even the locals there, they have no access to water. But with 29 billion Kenya shillings, every constituency accessing that money for water, specifically for water, Honorable Speaker, you will do some boreholes there, water bans in the northern Kenya and the arid areas, and I'm sure, Honorable Speaker, every community will have access to water, rather than putting all resources in one or two corners, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, coming to this supplementary budget, we scrutinized this budget, Honorable Speaker, like you had my honorable colleagues speaking about it. We invited the ministries. The PSs appeared before us. We sat down. In fact, at one point, the Honorable Speaker, when they appeared, they were not agreeing. The figures they were bringing, they were different. The CEOs, they were saying this is what they submitted, and this is what came out. It was different. So they went out to harmonize. We agreed as a committee. We did a report, Honorable Speaker. We submitted our report. Honorable Speaker, what we have seen is not exactly what we submitted, yes, as the honorable members have said, but we need to relook, Honorable Speaker, what is the role of a committee? What is the role of a committee? If we have sat down and we are the first line of members who are interacting the institutions they have come before us and they have told us, okay, here, this is what we are supposed to do. And what we see is something different. So, number two, Honorable Speaker, the PS for water is unanswered in this House, in a committee room, and the members here, that the proposals or the budget submitted to Treasury is not what came to this House. It's completely different. That is to mean there was some amendment of the ministry budget which was submitted to Treasury. So the PS said, some of the projects which were complete, they were complete, already added money more than even the project, contract. So, Honorable Speaker, if the Treasury are standing now to be doing the budget, then we must be told. Honorable Speaker, number 2, the amendments brought by Treasury to this House must be subjected to the scrutiny by the committee. Why is the Treasury bringing amendments without the scrutiny of the committee?
Out of order, Majority Leader.
Honorable Speaker, not to cut short the chair, because I believe he's speaking from a point of knowledge, but it would benefit the House if we would get case examples, and I would particularly be very keen to know of one single project that the National Treasury has allocated more money, as alleged by the chair, that a project is complete, the line ministry has not given it money, and the Treasury has given it money, because that would be a clear case of corruption. Unless maybe there are pending bills relating to that project that Treasury thinks should be settled. Otherwise, I wish the chair can give us particular, specific examples of such cases, because everything and anything we say on this floor, Honorable Speaker, we have Kenyans listening to us out there. And it's important that, that's why our own standing orders requires to substantiate.
The request you make, Majority Leader, is fair. Honorable Kangogo,
the Honorable Kangogo to furnish myself and the Chair of the Budget and Appropriations Committee specific cases where the National Treasury has allocated money on a project, as he alleges, that is complete and does not require money. Because a project can also be complete. And let me be honest, Honorable Speaker, because accounting officers have this tendency, because some of them want kickbacks from projects. They do not want to allocate money to projects that have been completed, because probably they had gotten kickbacks before. And they want new projects that will give them kickbacks. And let us not bury our heads under the sand.
Yeah, so
in the sand
Majority
at all.
Leader,
So I would want the Honorable Kangogo on record tomorrow before we finish with the appropriation bill.
No, he will go on record now.
Yes, he
And
must give us
Kangogo,
specific examples so
if
that we do not just cast aspersions on people in offices who are not here to defend themselves.
Majority Leader, you've made your point. Honorable Kangogo.
Yeah, Honorable Speaker, I will submit those projects, but I want to single out 2, Honorable Speaker. I can't pronounce the name properly, but there are 2 or 3 projects, Honorable Speaker, and it's true in the northern Kenya, where a water pan, Honorable Speaker, is allocated a new water pan, 250 million. It is in this budget. I don't know what is the name. The PS for water, Korir, appeared before us, and he said those projects he didn't budget. There is another one for another, I think another 50. And they say that the Treasury, and this one I'm on record, we have an answer to Honorable Speaker. All our committee proceedings are always recorded.
So in terms of budgeting, when you come tomorrow, Honorable Kangogo, no problem. Let Honorable Kangogo speak. Honorable Kangogo, how you will help Parliament is if you even identify those projects so that we can knock them off.
Yes, I have my members
and take
here
the money to more priority areas. Conclude, please.
The members of the committee are here, Honorable Speaker, and we will single out. It's only that I can't pronounce the names, but I will submit even before, yes, or even tomorrow morning. And Honorable Speaker, let me say,
you will be helping the House a great deal to submit that, because you've heard Honorable Makali say we need to buy cancer treatment equipment, so we can knock those and take them there if no money has been supplied.
Exactly. Yeah, Honorable Speaker, if you check this budget for water, there are so many new projects running into millions, 300 million, 200 million, which we have just seen here, which were not subjected to the committee scrutiny. which the PS himself, when we call, he said he doesn't know. That is not unanswered. So, Honorable Speaker, that's why I'm saying there is a problem in Treasury. The Treasury cannot appropriate. The Treasury, once they have given us a ceiling, and the ministry they have worked on their budgets within the ceiling. The Treasury has no business to give us new projects or even to allocate any money to any especially in supplementary. If there is new money, Honorable Speaker, this House amendment should be brought to this House or to the committee to be scrutinized. Yes.
Are you done?
No, there is a point of order.
No, I've not allowed
okay, sorry.
to intervene.
Sorry. So
can you be done?
Let me finish, Honorable Speaker. Number 2.
Oh, that is the chair of Budget and Appropriations Committee. What is out of order?
The Honorable Speaker, I didn't intend to disrupt the good presentation by the Honorable Kangongo, but when the chair of Blue Economy, he's made very important points. And the only area that I need him to correct, Honorable Speaker, is to insinuate that National Treasury cannot add new projects. I think that is the only area that he needs to at least check on that, because the presidency can add new projects into the budget through National Treasury. The president can visit any part of the country, and citizens can request him for a project, and he can use National Treasury to add those projects to the budget. I think that needs to be clarified. Otherwise,
Chair Budget, you've made your point. You've made your point, and it is correct. Honorable Kangogo, can you conclude?
So it is true, Honorable Speaker. I want to agree with the Honorable Attorney. What I'm saying, the President can make a pronouncement, and the Treasury can factor that pronouncement. But what I'm saying, if it is in order, Speaker, that what a Treasury is presenting, or what the new addition from Treasury, must be subjected to committee scrutiny. Because we understand, because we understand, so, because we understand the sector much more than, because in the last financial year, we know that project we allocated money. And this is, okay, let me be informed by the...
Honorable Kangogo Bowen, why are you running this house?
Honorable Speaker, I think I have made my point. What I'm saying is, we need to respect the committees.
You've made the point, and it is understood.
Yes,
Do you have any new points to make?
We need to respect the work of the committees, Honorable Speaker. So that when on the pending bills, Honorable Speaker, when you are told Northern Kenya, they have 1.5 billion pending bills, but they have again almost 1.8 billion new projects. What is that? You have 1.5 billion pending bills, and you have another 1.8 billion new projects. And when we did that, when we tried to correct, it is rubbish, Honorable Speaker. How are we going to support?
You cannot stand on a point of order when the member is done. The Honorable John Kiari was to follow. Honorable Chairs, could you reduce your contribution time to under 10 minutes?
Honorable Speaker, I stand and I'm well guided, and I have to thank you for the opportunity to contribute to this very important debate in the life of Parliament, Mr. Speaker. And allow me to start by commending the chairperson of the Budget and Appropriations Committee for such amazing work that he has done, a work that has been so consultative across sectors, up to and including involving the chairpersons of the different departmental committees in the process of budget making. Allow me also, Mr. Speaker, to commend and congratulate the Budget and Appropriations Committee and the membership that I see even in the House as we debate this late into the evening. I must commend the members of the BAC committee, because they stand for what is required, especially by, Mr. Speaker, if you would protect me from the leader of majority, the leader of majority.
Order, honorable members. Honorable members. Leader of
Protect
majority.
me from my neighbor, Honorable Kimani Waishongwa.
Majority leader. Let us consult at tones that allow members to make their contributions.
I appreciate that, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, I was congratulating the Committee on Budgets and Appropriation Committee for the process that they have taken to get us to where we are. And I was saying that this time round, Mr. Speaker, the process has been so consultative across the sectors, Mr. Speaker, and that is much appreciated because, Mr. Speaker, it does speak to Article 221 of our Constitution, Mr. Speaker, that commits the budgeting and appropriation to this House, Mr. Speaker, and not to any other quarter anywhere in this country. Mr. Speaker, when I appeared before the Budget and Appropriations Committee, I did make a critical point and observation, Mr. Speaker, that there is a need for Kenya to come to the place of zero-based budgeting, Mr. Speaker. Because what we have done with incremental budgeting, Mr. Speaker, is speaking to the issues that are being raised by the Honorable Kangogo Bowen, Mr. Speaker. That what this country needs to do is to tidy up its budget books, Mr. Speaker, and bring us to a place where we come to a place of zero-based budgeting every year, Mr. Speaker, so that we're able to clear out all these issues that as have been raised here by the chairperson in the water sector. Mr. Speaker, I want to take this opportunity to say that it is critical, Mr. Speaker, what is being recommended by the Budget and Appropriation Committee on the digitalization and the digitization of the tax matters at KRA, Mr. Speaker, because what is needed now is for us to bring equitable taxation to our people. As we speak today, Mr. Speaker, only around 20% of Kenyans are paying up to 80% of the taxes, Mr. Speaker. And what has been happening is because, Mr. Speaker, we do not have a digital system at KRA, we ended up with problems where we are overburdening a certain percentage of our population to a very high extent, Mr. Speaker, that even when budget issues are being canvassed, Mr. Speaker, some people might not even be feeling the heat that this House feels when we go to the taxation of a very small minority at the expense of a very big majority, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it must be said that technology, and Mr. Speaker, today I just have been a very unlucky.
What is this caucus of chairs? You are distracting your colleague, Honorable John Kiarie.
Mr. Speaker, I was taking the opportunity to support what had been said by the chairperson, Honorable Kuria Kimani, that digitization at KRA is critical, Mr. Speaker. That we are finding ourselves as a country burdening 20% of our population with over 80% of the taxing that is done in this country, Mr. Speaker. And what needs to happen at KRA, Mr. Speaker, is to walk the path of digitization and digitalization, because we've got tools and equipments today, Mr. Speaker, that would allow us to tidy up our budget books to a place where every person carries their commensurate burden of taxing, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would want to go into the sector-related issues, Mr. Speaker, and say that, Mr. Speaker, we would like a consideration by the Budget and Appropriation Committee as the members of the Communication, Information and Innovation Committee for them to prioritize in the main budget those very critical issues, Mr. Speaker, and recommendations that we were not able to pass in the supplementary budget, but they rightly belong in the main budget, Mr. Speaker, so that we are able to cover the space that is left as a gap, Mr. Speaker, by what has been accruing in previous budgets, Mr. Speaker, in our sector, a sector that is coming up to be very critical and should be considered among the bigger sectors, Mr. Speaker, so that when we are budgeting and saying that we have a big sector called agriculture, or a big sector called education, or a big sector called energy, we ought to see this sector in the digital economy to be a very critical sector that cuts across all these sectors that we are calling main sectors, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it must be said from the floor of this House that the National Treasury has to consider fully the recommendations that are brought by the state departments so that we are able to ensure, Mr. Speaker, that while they are cutting budgets, they don't go into cutting budgets in very critical areas, Mr. Speaker, or even cutting on ongoing projects, Mr. Speaker, and favoring projects that are being called pending projects and so on, Mr. Speaker. And to alleviate this issue, Mr. Speaker, it would be so easy for us as a parliament, when we are processing the 2026-2027 budget estimates, we should call upon Treasury, Mr. Speaker, to submit to the Budget and Appropriation Committee the report on the National Treasury Spending Bills Verification Committee so that we are able to review, Mr. Speaker, scrutinize and report to the House what are these confirmed pending bills, Mr. Speaker, so that they stop being kicked like a can down the road to every other subsequent budget that comes after that, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in the interest of time, allow me to put in this word that we have, Mr. Speaker, as a House, to ensure that as we are passing budgets, the targets that are presented to us are budgets that are credible, and Mr. Speaker, so that we are able to ensure that the projects and programs that we pass here are properly costed for. But Mr. Speaker, I would have had much to say, especially in our sector, but in the interest of other members who would like to contribute, Mr. Speaker, let me end it by congratulating the Budget and Appropriation Committee and look forward to the main budget of 2026-2027, where we should implement.
Honorable David Gikaria.
Mheshimiwa Spika, kwa kunipa nafasi hii kuongelea kuhusu supplementary budget ambayo iko mbele yetu. Mheshimiwa Spika, nichukue nafasi hii kumshukuru mwenyekiti wa kamati hii ya bajeti kwa kuweza kuongea na kamati tofauti. Wakati tunapomtafuta kwa kamati yake, anakuwa mwepesi wa kupatikana na kuweza kunongonezeana na kuweza kubadilishana mawazo. Nichukue nafasi hii kumwambia asante sana kwa kazi nzuri ambayo anafanya na kamati yake kwa kuweza kuendesha kamati hii kwa njia ambayo inayofaa. Pili, Mheshimiwa Spika, ni pengine tupate mwelekeo kutoka kwa bunge, hasa kwa department ya budget. Mheshimiwa Spika, kila wakati tunapoenda mbele ya kamati ya bajeti, huwa wakati hizi ministries na departments zao wanapokuja mbele yetu, wanatupatia vitu ambazo wangependa zifanyike, kwa kimombo wanaita wish list. Na Mheshimiwa Spika, tunapoteza wakati mwingi kusikiza wale PSS na mawaziri, kuwasikiza wakitaka waongezewe hela, ile hali ile mfuko ya serikali haina nafasi ya kuweza kuongeza hela hata kidogo. Kwa hivyo pia ni muhimu katika department hii ya bajeti waweze kutupatia mwelekeo. Hii wish list ambayo tunaita kila wakati tunaenda kupeana mbele ya kamati, kama inatakikana kuendelea kupatiwa ama tuachane naye na tuweze kuangazia mambo muhimu ambayo inakuja katika mbele ya kamati. Mheshimiwa Spika, wacha niongee pia kuhusu mambo ambayo tunaita public participation. Tunajua kupitia the PFM Act ama sheria ambaye inaangazia maneno ya fedha katika nchi hii, the PFM Act inaangazia 10% peke yake na sibadilike zaidi ya 10%. Lakini Mheshimiwa Spika, tunapoona inapita ile kiwango, maswali ambayo inakuja mbele yetu ni je, inafaa tena tukarudi kwa wale wananchi, kwa sababu bajeti nzima imepita kwa maoni na kutolewa maoni na wananchi. Je, hii wakati inapita 10% ile inakubalika na PFM Act, inafaa irudi kwa mwananchi ndio aweze kutoa maoni yake, ndio tuweze kupitisha kitu yote ambaye inapita ile kiwango. Kwa hivyo muhimu, tunajua kuna sheria ambayo inakuja hapa kuhusiana na mambo ya utoaji wa maoni ya Wakenya kuhusiana na chochote ile, tukiongezea mambo ya bajeti, ndio tuweze kujua kama ikipita zaidi ya hela fulani ama asilimia zaidi ya 10, je, inafaa turudie pale. Ya tatu, Mheshimiwa Spika, na hii imeongelewa, ni muhimu Mheshimiwa Spika, hii Wizara ya Fedha ichukue maanani kidogo mambo ambayo inaongelewa hapa katika Bunge la Taifa. Mheshimiwa Spika, sisi tumeangazia ama serikali hii imeangazia uzalishaji wa stima ama umeme kwa nguvu sana, na diposa tulienda tukatoa vile vikwazo vilikuwa vimewekwa hapo awali, na tukasema ni muhimu sisi tukuze, kwa sababu sasa kwa wakati huu tunakuza megawatts 3,000 peke yake. Lakini rais ametuambia nchi hii kama ni lazima tuendelee na tufikie katika zile nchi ambazo zimeendelea, ni lazima tuanze kuangazia uzalishaji wa stima tufikie kama megawati 10,000. Lakini Mheshimiwa Spika, inatughadhabisha kidogo kama kamati wakati tulipogundua katika bajeti hii ya supplementary ya kwamba bilioni 1.5 zilitolewa katika kitu ambaye tunaita All Carrier 1 Rehabilitation, ambaye iko 95% kwa kumalizika, na ingetuzalishia megawati 80, na hiyo ingekuwa inaenda kuwashwa ama kuwa commissioned mwezi wa 6. Sasa tunauliza, je, kuna pengine pale katika Wizara ya Fedha wanapoteza mwelekeo kidogo na kuanza kukosa kuangazia yale maono ya serikali, kwa sababu All Carrier 1 Rehabilitation kama haingeondolewa zile hela, ingeweza kukamilika mwezi wa 6 na tuzalishe megawati 80. Kwa hivyo ni muhimu hawa watu wa ministry ama Wizara ya Fedha wawe mwanzo, na hii inatughadhabisha sana. Nimekuwa mwenyekiti kwa muda kabla ile mwaka nyingine, ile administration nyingine kabla hatujaondolewa, lakini walikuwa wanatuma wawakilishi wa Wizara ya Fedha katika kamati zetu zote ndio waweze kutuelezea ni kwa nini wanaondoa. Lakini siku hizi, Mheshimiwa Spika, ningependa kamati ambaye husika walazimishe wale representative kutoka Wizara ya Fedha kufika mbele tunapoelezewa na wizara za kwetu, kuwe kuna mtu mmoja ambaye anatoka pale ndio aweze kuelezea. Kama hii tungeuliza kwa nini mnaondoa bilioni 1.5 ikiwa mradi iko 95% na karibu ingeweza kutuzalishia stima ambaye tunataka kuzalisha kama nchi na tuweze kuendelea kama nchi. Nyingine ambayo tunataka kusema, Mheshimiwa Spika, ni counterpart funding. Mheshimiwa Spika, katika sekta yetu hii ya umeme, pesa nyingi zinazopatikana ni pesa za kigeni. Zile zinawekezwa hapa, lakini ziko na condition, ile wanaita condition precedence, ya kwamba serikali ya Kenya ni lazima iwezeke kiwango fulani ndio iweze kutoa zile hela. Lakini unapata, Mheshimiwa Spika, tunaweka kwenye bajeti lakini hela hazitoki kutoka kwa wizara ile. Sasa inafanyika nini? Wale ambaye ni wawekezaji kutoka nje inabidi waondoe zile pesa, na tunaendelea kugandamiza mambo ambayo inaendelea kwa upande wa. Kwa hivyo ni muhimu Wizara ya Fedha tukiweka pesa kutoa ile kiwango ya serikali inafaa kutoa, to make sure ya kwamba hizo pesa zinaweza kupatikana. Mheshimiwa Spika, wacha niende katika hii maneno ambaye inaongelewa sasa kwa wingi, hasa maneno ya mafuta. Mheshimiwa Spika, tuko na department inaitwa National Oil Corporation of Kenya. Mheshimiwa Spika, sisi kama kamati tumejaribu sana kuifufua, kuipatia uwezo na kuweza kuinua ndio tuweze kupata. Lakini Mheshimiwa Spika, nataka kusema ya kwamba hii department ni lazima iangaziwe, hasa kwa sababu ya kuweka mafuta ambayo tunaita ni ya reserve katika nchi yetu, na ndio iweze kutupatia. Na waziri nataka kumpongeza kwa sababu amekuja mbele ya kamati, ametuhakikishia tuna mafuta ya kutosha kwa mwezi wa 3 na mwezi wa 4. Kwa hivyo hatuna budi ya kwenda kila wakati kama vile mjumbe mmoja hapa anakuja kutishia ama kuelekezea serikali lati ya kwamba msijaribu. Mheshimiwa Speaker, Majority Leader hapa ametuelezea ya kwamba haina budi. Kwa kweli ikiwa itafika mahali imefika itakuwa ni vigumu sana. Na nishukuru serikali kwa kuleta hii maneno ya mafuta inaitwa G2G ambayo inasaidia sana. Huu mfumo wa G2G umetusaidia kuweza kufanya serikali yetu na mafuta bei yake ibaki pale ilipo. Mheshimiwa Speaker, kuna mengi ambayo tungependa kuyasema, lakini tunataka kusema ya kwamba 76%, na najua kama wewe Speaker kwako kwenyewe kuna asilimia ile connectivity iko chini sana, na serikali yetu kijumla katika nchi nzima iko 76%, lakini tunajua kuna sehemu ambazo zinafaa kuangaliliwa, ile tunaita affirmative action. Naye Mheshimiwa Speaker, naye ndio tunasema kama Northeastern katika hii supplementary budget.
Honorable Mutunga.
From the Treasurer of ruling party.
Honorable John Mutunga.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to also contribute to the budget debate, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I would like to start with thanking the Committee on Budget and Appropriation for doing a good job. Honorable Speaker, I have been in that committee in the first term, and I remember it was not an easy process. Listening to all the departments and making sense out of what they say is not really easy. And at the end of the day, coming up with a budget that people are not complaining about. Honorable Speaker, agriculture sector is one of those sectors that are terribly underfunded in this country. Honorable Speaker, sometimes we should be asking ourselves questions as to whether it is not necessary to give agriculture money early enough. Why I'm saying this, Honorable Speaker, is because if we can allocate at the beginning of a financial year, we allocate 8 billion shillings to the fertilizer subsidy program. And we know for sure the fertilizer subsidy program requires 19 billion. It means we must get 11 billion somewhere along the way, because farmers will need fertilizer, they will need to plant. Therefore, we must get that money before the end of the year. So, Honorable Speaker, that is where you realize 223 comes in handy. And Honorable Speaker, when you stand in this house and say 223 is misused, I think it is not really being fair to this country, because there are some things that are new and different that come in somewhere along the way and they have to be sorted out. And one of them is like meeting the due cost of importing fertilizer in time for farmers to use for planting, or subsidizing when it comes to issues like seeds. Honorable Speaker, this particular supplementary budget has a provision for 2 billion shillings, which is a subsidy to the Kenya Seed Company to provide seed at a cheaper price. This is important for Kenyans because we are going to enable them to use quality seed to plant. Honorable Speaker, part of that money is supposed to be used to pay a debt that was incurred last year because there was a subsidy. And the rest of the money is supposed to go into this, reducing the cost of seed this year. But as a committee, Honorable Speaker, we insisted on having a procedure for utilizing this particular subsidy so that it follows the fertilizer distribution subsidy. The fertilizer last mile distribution process is embodied on the use of KIAMI's data. This data has the number of farmers in this country, farmers registered against their parcels of land. And of course, we know the consumption of fertilizer per acre, if it is planting fertilizer or stop dressing. So in that case, Honorable Speaker, there is a clear procedure to estimate how much fertilizer somebody can buy at any one time. In the same tone and in the same design, we have agreed as a committee and recommended that the seed subsidization must follow the KIAMI's data, provisions of the KIAMI's data, so that we may determine the amount of seed per acre. We do not need just to put money into the seed sector and end up subsidizing seed in other countries, because it is possible for unscrupulous traders to buy a lot of seed from Kenya Seed, which is subsidized, and cross border with it. And therefore, we shall subsidize seed in Uganda and South Sudan and other countries. And that is not the purpose of Kenyan government. Honorable Speaker, this budget has come in to support a few areas in agriculture that are very important, like the subsidies I've talked about, like also trying to attend to the sugar sector, where we have had some resources set aside to pay part of the dues to the staff of the leased out sugar processing plants. Honorable Speaker, that is important because that provision was not there at the beginning. When Treasury presented as policies document to this House, we did discuss it and agree that we can start by waiving off the debts that were there, and then paying the farmers, paying up the farmers their cost, and therefore later on resort to paying up the staff. But Honorable Speaker, we have realized that there is need to scrutinize that particular subsector a lot more because the dues to the staff are increasing. And it is interesting to note that some of these things were not noticed at that particular point in time. The costs were not properly computed. Some costs to do with the dues, the end of term dues, and the insurances and others have come in and they have increased that particular provision. Honorable Speaker, we have many issues in the agricultural sector that need support, and the key among them is the research system. Kenya has one of the most elaborate research systems in Africa, and it has some of the most learned, educated personnel. But, Honorable Speaker, our research system does not have sufficient funding. As we speak, Honorable Speaker, and as a committee, we are not able to provide for what the CARI as an institution requires. And that is why we requested the Budget and Appropriation Committee, should they be able to get some money from another sector to try and provide CARO, the Kenya Agriculture and Livestock Research Organization, with about 500 million hours, Honorable Speaker, which they need for personal emoluments because they did not even have enough money for that particular purpose. CARO is an enlarged institution. It is enlarged in the sense that when amalgamation was being done in 2013, when it used to be Kenya Agriculture Research Institute, but it became Kenya Agriculture and Livestock Research Organization. It brought in many other research institutions which were commodity-based under the one umbrella. And therefore, the cost also escalated. And some of these research institutions have not been making money. CARI, the original CARI, could be making some money through seed and through other A&A sources, but they have not been able to make enough money to be able to support themselves. But notably, Honorable Speaker, in the agricultural sector, we have several state corporations that have become solvent, that they can be able to raise A&A, which is enough to cover their budget. And Honorable Speaker, we have been looking at the progress they are making, and there have been possibilities of contributing to the exchequer, to Treasury, by giving Treasury a bit more money. Honorable Speaker, finally, let me say that instead of waiting to be driven by the need, let us take the cue that the other African countries have taken. Countries like Rwanda, countries like Ethiopia and other countries which have funded their agriculture at the rate of close to 10%. And they are growing at double digit. We need to realize that most of the people in this country depend on agriculture. And if they do, we need to give money in agriculture. 70% of the employees, of the people employed in the rural areas are in agriculture. 40% of those employed are in agriculture. Foreign exchange earning, agriculture is top. It is also the greatest supporter to GDP. All these factors need money to sustain and to improve. So, Honorable Speaker, let us fund agriculture appropriately. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Robert Basil.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for allowing me to contribute to the budget. The supplementary budget, Mr. Speaker, is actually supposed to fund ongoing projects. For example, in my area, we have the Sports Academy, which is underway, Mr. Speaker. It's also supposed to fund emerging needs. We are talking of drought response, floods, and among other emerging needs. Mr. Speaker, supplementary budget, again, is supposed to strengthen security as well as support other issues which are causing economic pressures to the nation, Mr. Speaker. This includes social protection programs, among many others, Mr. Speaker. So when I look at this supplementary budget, Mr. Speaker, against what I've already stated, I notice the areas we are doing well are the areas we need improvement, Mr. Speaker. And I'll begin with areas that we are performing very well in respect to this supplementary budget, Mr. Speaker. One of the areas is funding TVET. We know for sure this world, for you to survive, particularly the youth, we need youth with the skills, Mr. Speaker. And the TVET is one of the institutions that we are supposed to champion and promote and cherish Mr. Speaker's House. So when I see we have budgeted money for TVET, I'm really pleased and I applaud the chair for budget for that, Mr. Speaker. Importantly, another area we are doing well is school feeding program, Mr. Speaker. When I look at this supplementary budget, we have allocated money for school feeding program, Mr. Speaker. We know the importance of school feeding program. Most of us who are in this house were able to enjoy maziwa ya Nyayo during the days of Moi era, Mr. Speaker. But Moi, when he left office, that maziwa ya Nyayo disappeared with him. But now with the school feeding program, we are going to boost quality of education and support retention of learners in school, Mr. Speaker. Importantly, I'm also noticing we are doing very well in this budget in respect to security. We have budgeted a reasonable amount of money for police. We know security is a fundamental element in the growth of any economy, Mr. Speaker. You cannot have growth in our country if we don't factor security, Mr. Speaker. And I notice security, police has been budgeted appropriately, although there is also need for more money to be allocated there, Mr. Speaker. Now, there are areas where we need to improve, Mr. Speaker, and I'll begin with energy. Energy is a key sector, Mr. Speaker. You know for sure, if you connect many households with electricity, Mr. Speaker, you are going to have many customers who are going to pay or to contribute to revenue for this country, Mr. Speaker. And most of the rural areas are lagging behind on matters to do with energy, Mr. Speaker. So it's important as a house, we appropriate budget and increase more money for energy, particularly rural electricity connection, Mr. Speaker. Another area which we need to do a little bit better, Mr. Speaker, is on the roads. Most of the rural roads, particularly because of rains, they are in a bad state, Mr. Speaker. So we need to budget a little bit higher on the road infrastructure, Mr. Speaker. If you look at our economy, through road, and we can witness through Thika Superhighway, which was done by Kibaki, and now we have the expressway, which was done by the former president together with the current president together. They were able to do the expressway. That is a key ingredient to economic growth, Mr. Speaker. And we need to look into having more roads, particularly bitumen standard road, Mr. Speaker. So as a house, we need to appropriate more money towards road as a sector, Mr. Speaker. Irrigation, Mr. Speaker. We are not doing very well on irrigation. And you know we cannot attain food security if we don't appropriate more money for irrigated agriculture, Mr. Speaker. So we need to add more money to irrigation. And this is something that as a house, going forward, we know will be coming soon to the main budget. We need to factor irrigation to be able to be a key sector to be supported by this house, Mr. Speaker. Creative economy, Mr. Speaker. Many of our youth, they are dependent on creative economy and use of technology to be able to generate livelihood, Mr. Speaker. When I look at the amount of money we have allocated for creative economy is questionable, it's so little to make a difference, Mr. Speaker. So we need to look at creative economy and add more money. Majority of our population, they are youth. Youth is dominant and is a bonus we have as a country because this is a productive age that should be depended on by Kenya and many countries beyond our borders, Mr. Speaker. So we need to add more money towards creative economy, Mr. Speaker. When I look at another important sector, if you talk of drought response, I'm surprised and perplexed to notice that 470 million was reduced from drought response, Mr. Speaker. We are making reference to drilling balls, desilting other dams, and many other essential elements along drought response, Mr. Speaker. So we need to reinstate this money, Mr. Speaker, to be able to support us as a region which have experienced chronic drought-related issues, and that needs to be mitigated, Mr. Speaker, to save lives and to be able to save economies of many of these people who are dependent on ASA-related economies, Mr. Speaker. And then lastly, Mr. Speaker, health. health is an essential sector, Mr. Speaker, that we need to budget more for. We have had a very sad story where Kenyatta National Hospital, patients are queuing for a cancer machine, and we know what that means, Mr. Speaker. So as a House, let's not ignore or turn deaf ear towards health, Mr. Speaker. So we need to factor health as a sector to be able to support patients, particularly poor patients who depend on this country and this nation to be able to survive and be able to contribute to the economy. So, Mr. Speaker, with those many remarks, I would say that going forward, let's budget more for development as opposed to recurrent expenditure. Let's also have a full disclosure of all reallocation, Mr. Speaker, to be able to promote accountability when it comes to service delivery, and then strengthen oversight by National Assembly committees, Mr. Speaker, so as we can be able to
move to reply.
Thank you. Thank you very much, the Honorable Speaker. I would like to plead with the Majority Leader that as a reply, I get your maximum attention. Yes, the Honorable Speaker, I want to thank you for the opportunity to reply. And first, let me thank members for the very vigorous debate that we have had on this budget. And this shows that the members of this House are committed to nation building. Honorable Speaker, many issues have been raised on the floor, and I've taken note of most of them. I want to appreciate the issues raised by the Departmental Committee on Blue Economy and Water, and I think some of their concerns are accurate. I want to commit that we are going to investigate some of their concerns, especially those ones touching on allocations to projects that have been completed, and we are going to give this House feedback. But, Honorable Speaker, I want to challenge the Honorable Kangongo Bowen, the Chairman of Blue Economy, that when the executive is introducing new projects with the budget, I don't think they have to consult committee chairman. The president can introduce projects to the budget through National Treasury. And that has happened before. It is happening in these supplementary estimates. And I want members to respect that the presidency has powers to do that. So there are many projects in new projects in this budget, which I am fully informed are here courtesy of executive order. So those ones I want to urge committees to refrain from challenging the authority of the president. But on those ones where you think unfair allocations has happened, I'm going to support you and I'm going to work closely with you. Honorable Speaker, many members have challenged the expenditures on Article 223. I want to reiterate that this committee, the Budget and Appropriations Committee, did look at all those expenditures. And we were satisfied with those expenditures because they met the requirements of the Constitution, which is that one, where the allocations were not sufficient, there can be additions under Article 223. Where there are emergencies, the only allocation which we challenged, Honorable Speaker, and which we opposed was that which was spent by the Sierra County government. That one we opposed and we have not approved it. Thirdly, Honorable Speaker, there are other members who are questioning the physical framework and the physical space. Honorable Speaker, our economy has been expanding. Today we are talking about a 19 trillion economy. So a fiscal deficit of 6%, 6.1% is meager, and it will not worry anybody. I want to confirm to Kenyans that the fiscal space which we are providing in this supplementary budget is accommodative, it is affordable, we can manage it as an economy. It's not a lot of money. So don't be worried about physical space, don't be worried about fiscal deficit. It is something which we have looked at and we have consulted National Treasury, and as Budget Committee we approved it because we know it is sustainable. Thirdly, Honorable Speaker, I want to say that I know that pending bills is an issue, and this is something which we have also discussed with National Treasury. The executive is going to come up with a framework for addressing pending bills, and this House will be communicated. There will be a communication to this House. So I want to urge members not to, worry so much about the pending bills. There's something which is being done. As you are aware, pending bills on the road sector has been resolved. There is no contractor today who is outside the road program because of pending bills. This was sorted out through the new program of securitization of fuel levy, and which this House approved. There is also a new program which is coming up for sorting out the other pending bills. So, members, we have a responsive government. We have a hardworking president. We have an intelligent president who knows the issues of the country. So, I want to urge you to not to be livid when some of these issues are coming up. There are members here I know who are, because of their background, because of their political parties, you have to stand on the floor of the House to oppose what government is doing. And that is the work of opposition. We will allow you to do that, but we know that most of the issues you are raising have no basis. Because what is happening is procedural, it is well communicated, it is researched, it is thoughtful. And so I want to add my brother, the Honorable Makali Mulu, who spoke widely against the physical framework, the physical space, that you can try to oppose what government is doing, but everything is working. Everything is working, and we are confident that in the end, Kenyans are going to be happy about what the government is doing. Honorable Speaker, with those many remarks, I beg to reply.
What is out of order?
Put the question, Honorable Speaker.
What is out of order?
Give me the mic, Chair.
Give Honorable Victor Koech the mic.
Yeah, it's okay. Honorable Chair, what is out of order to me, Speaker, what is out of order to me was the failure to mention on a critical part that is going to help Northeastern part of the country. My chair was almost mentioning 1.4 billion that is within this budget that is going to ease and that is going to give power to the people who have been disadvantaged for generations and generations. Honorable Speaker, like any other members contributed, having sat there for close to 4 or 5 hours, I've been listening and listening. You know, when you want to remain in power, you give people power. Power is given in terms of generation. Power is given in terms of transmission. Power is given in terms of distribution.
What is that of?
Order, members.
Yes.
I'm the one running the House. Yes, I want to understand what is out of order. Continue.
Chair, on the point of distribution, Chair, which as members of this committee, we normally go to the ministry to seek for help from the REREC department. If we fail to give them the money, how else are we going to give our people power? That is why, Honorable Speaker, I decided to seek your attention about the same. Thank you. Yes.
Yes. I allowed him to make his contributions because he's talking the language of my new party leader. Thank you, Honorable Koech, for drawing our attention to those important matters. Honorable members, I now put the question, which is that this House adopts the report of the Budget and Appropriations Committee on its consideration of the supplementary estimates for the financial year 2025-2026, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 31st March 2026, and pursuant to the provisions of Article 223 of the Constitution, Section 39 of the Public Finance Management Act, Chapter 412A, and Standing Order 243, Number 1, approves an increase of the current expenditure for financial year 2025-2026 by Kenya shillings 232,427,326,355 in respect of the votes contained in the first schedule. 2, approves an increase of the capital expenditure for financial year 2025-2026 by Kenya shillings 131,455,269,596 in respect of the votes contained in the first schedule. Number 3, approves an overall increase in the total budget for financial year 2025-2026 by Kenya shillings 363 billion 882 million 595 951 in respect of the votes contained in the first schedule. Number 4, makes financial recommendations as contained in the third schedule. Number 5, approves the expenditures under Article 223 of the Constitution as contained in the fourth schedule. Number 6, resolves that the first schedule form the basis for the consideration of the Supplementary Appropriation Bill 2026. And number 7, notes the further adjustments made on the following votes. 1, vote 1025, National Police Service. 2, vote 1026, State Department for Internal Security and National Administration. 3, vote 1033, State Department for Special Programs. 4, vote 1036, State Department for Rural and Regional Development. 5, vote 1064, State Department for Technical Vocational Education and Training. 6, vote 1066, State Department for Basic Education. 7, vote 1071, the National Treasury. 8, vote 1072, State Department for Economic Planning. 9, vote 1073, State Department for Investments and Assets Management. 10, vote 1091, State Department for Roads. 020-2000 Road Transport. 11, vote 1104, State Department for Irrigation. 12, vote 1109, State Department for Water and Sanitation. 13, vote 1169, State Department for Agriculture. 14, vote 1213, State Department for Public Service and Human Capital Development. 15, vote 2021, Controller of Budget. 16, vote 2061, Commission on Revenue Allocation. 17, vote 2042, the National Assembly. And 18, vote 2044, the Senate. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as are of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order. It was an allotted day, and we were to go up to 9:30. That's why I was asking why we were concluding before 9.
Order number 14, motion. Consideration of the draft salaries and remuneration commission, remuneration and benefits of state and other public officers regulations 2025.
Mover. Do you have the mover for, that is the matter at order number 14. Do you have the chairperson committee on delegated legislation? Yes, the Honorable Koech, Victor.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. looking around and counting the numbers.
No, don't go that direction. Don't go that direction. Do we have the mover for the motion under order number 14? It will stand stepped down. Next order.
Order number 15, hoja ukaguzi wa asasi zisizo huru kikamilifu za Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki na ushoroba wa kati katika Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania.
The consideration of this particular matter is also stepped down to the future when it will be scheduled. Next order.
Order number 16, motion, report of the Kenya delegation to the 147th Assembly of the Interparliamentary Union, IPU, and related meetings.
Is the leader of delegation in respect of this motion in the House? This is also stepped down for consideration in future. Next order.
Order number 17, motion, report of the Kenya delegation to the 148th Assembly of the Interparliamentary Union, IPU, and related meetings.
Leader of delegation in respect of this motion is absent. It will be stepped down for consideration in future. Next order.
Order number 18, the Fisheries Management and Development Bill, National Assembly Bill number 29 of 2023, second reading.
Honorable members, this will also stand stepped down. Call the next order.
Order number 19, the Forest Conservation and Management Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 38 of 2025, second reading.
Again, the mover is not in the House, engaged elsewhere. This is stepped down to the future. Next order.
Order number 20, the Quality Healthcare and Patient Safety Bill, National Assembly Bill number 41 of 2025, second reading.
For the convenience of the House, this particular order is also stepped down for debate in future. Next order.
Order number 21, motion, consideration of a petition regarding delay in resettlement of squatters under the Chepkumia Land Exchange Program.
Again, this particular motion is stepped down for consideration in the future. Next order.
Order number 22, motion, 10th report on the audited accounts of the National Government Constituencies Development Fund for the financial years 2016, 2017 to 2021, 2022.
Yeah, for the convenience of the House, this matter is also stepped down to the future. And let me just indicate that because of the heavy matter the House has attended to, all the matters appearing in the order paper will stand stepped down for consideration of the House, so that the House will stand adjourned henceforth. Be upstanding, honorable members. Honorable members, the time being 9:08 p.m., this House stands adjourned until tomorrow, Thursday, the second day of April 2026 at 2:30 p.m.